So I want to explain to everybody one of the reasons Kenny is so successful. He's a professional in the business, but he started in property management. And property management is where the money is made or lost, right in there. Plus his partner comes from the finance side. The savings and loan, which are all gone today. And that's a secret to his success. And again, I just want to reiterate this. In 2008, when everybody was out there buying houses they couldn't afford, they had ninja loans, no income, no job. The idiots are in the market, and they're going to lose their houses soon. It was going to bring the whole market down in 2008. And when it came down, Bernanke got a Nobel Prize. Can you imagine that? One of the biggest criminal Fed chairman, he gets a Nobel Prize for that. So now the whole economy is into this massive, massive bubble. And then this new Fed chairman, Powell, is raising interest rates. So this is not 2008. This is 2023. And that's the reason for this show. What do you see in 23?
Well, we've already seen, significant drops in residential, commercial already in the last 6 months. So we own 10,000 units. So we have a very active pipeline with acquisition people and analysts. And so every single week, I'm looking at 4 to 8 deals every week, all over Texas, Arizona. So I am in touch with the markets. I know what brokers are doing. I know what sellers are doing. We know what the capital markets are doing. And then we also have 68 million in renovations going on in our 10,000 apartments. So I understand the supply issues and the labor issues and all that kind of stuff. Well, I did a video called Pencils Down. I said, hey, time to put your pencils down and just let the Fed do their thing. And because what I'm trying to do, Robert, is I'm trying to get the sellers to adjust their expectations. There's a big difference between the bid and the ask right now, between what I'm willing to pay and what the seller is willing to do. But I have all the leverage. I hold all the cards.
So let's say I'm mom and pop. We got the real estate bug, because what scares me, Kenny, is I go around town, people, I did what you said. I bought real estate. I said, yeah, that was a while ago. So let's say they bought a property in 2020, because it's 2022 right now, and they're upside down. The house, so let's say they bought it at 100,000, it's now 200,000 and coming down. They still have a job, which is key to the whole thing. So let's have a property I paid 200,000 for. It's now on its way past 100. What would you say to that person?
The main thing is the cash flow. We always talk about this. You built a game around it. The principles in cash flow are exactly what people should be studying. By the way, I bought real estate in 2005 and the value went down. But what saved me was the cash flow during those rough years. So if they can figure out a way to cover their expenses and their mortgage payment, hold on, because obviously you have to write a check to get out of something like that. So that's the number one thing. And I think what people don't realize is at the end of the day, the tenants, they pay your house off. So they're gold. And so you have to treat them well. You have to take care of them and then just ride it out. Because I've been through this and what saved my butt was my tenants and managing a property well and keeping the occupancies high. If they don't have that, let's say, and they're hemorrhaging seriously. I know a lot of people that bought Airbnb, and I was like, you should never just buy a home to Airbnb it. It needs to work like as a long-term rent. There's only one way. And you got to pay somehow, some way. And so you have to be scrappy and figure out how to cover your expenses. And if you can't, then you're going to lose the property and you're going to lose your equity. And so that's what I see next is a lot of Airbnbs, I don't know if you know, is really down. So those people that their expenses were $7-8 a month, let's say, basically the same thing you do when you're in a seat on a plane that's crashing. There's not a lot you can do unless you're cash flowing. That's it.
What would you recommend to mom and pop? Again, in the house they paid $200 for it in 2020. It's now $100. You can't find tenants. Because, when people lose their jobs, they stop renting too. Well, you have to evict them some of the times. It's a whole different market is what we're saying here. What does that person do?
There's not a lot of choices, honestly, Robert. The bank's going to want their mortgage. Just like if you stop paying your car loan, they're going to come foreclose it. That's just the bottom line. So you have to figure out a way to side hustle or whatever, because, not only would you have to pay that back. Let's say it is a 200 to 100. That's the extreme. Right now, it's at least 20% off, let's say. But regardless, if the bank takes that back, you actually get a tax bill. If they have a write down, you actually get a tax bill for that too. So it's not as simple as just walking away, and you got to fight like heck to figure out how to cover that, how to get that thing and write it through. And this is the entire point of reserves and cash. You got to have reserves and you got to have cash. I know a lot of investors distribute all their money and go buy crap, and they don't have any kind of reserves. And so any kind of a uptick like interest rates can wipe out some of their cash flow very quickly, which is exactly what's happening. This debt is killing a lot of people. Anybody who had bridge loans, variables, adjustable rates, all that stuff, their mortgage payments are killing their cash flow.
Back in 2008, the bad news was real estate market was crashing. The good news was the Fed was dropping interest rates. So it was like hog's heaven. I mean, we creamed it. So this time is 2023. Real estate is crashing from a bubble. Again, 2008 was a bubble. But instead of dropping interest rates, the Fed keeps raising interest rates. So if you haven't fixed your interest rate, you're in serious trouble, right?
Without a doubt. You think about this. The inflation rate was 9.1 in June. So now it's 7.1. So they've raised rates 6 times and it's gone down 2%. Now there is a lag effect, of course, but it hasn't really moved much, 2%, and they've jacked rates. And so what's happened is all the real estate is being repriced right now, and it will be repriced next year. And there's no way that the Fed's going to be under, let's say, 4 on inflation by the end of next year. In my opinion, there's no way.